Hello, everybody, and welcome to Motor Movie Reviews special end of year thing. Very late in the new year, but well, that's the way it goes, and it's the best of worst films we saw last year in 2023. I'm finally glad we got done to this, and essentially we'll just get right into it. But first, just quickly, what do you think of this year in film? I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but a bit mid like everything else.
You know when you say very late into the new year, do you mean January or March?
Smart. Anyway. And genuinely though, what do you think about the current state of film last year? Like everything else, 2023 was a bit mid, I think.
You know what? It wasn't too bad, to be honest. It could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. It was a bit, in my personal opinion, a bit mid-lane. But there were overall some... It was a weird one because there was a lot of middle lane films, but overall there were some outstanding stuff and some really poor films. So it was a bit of a peculiar one, which is good in my way because it's easier for us to analyse lists and stuff. So it makes my job easier.
And there we go. Let's just speaking of poor films, let's get right into it and start off with the worst. And I'm going to start off with my honourable mention quickly, that being Marlowe, the Liam Neeson detective film, which you haven't seen, so I'll just be very blunt about it, which not very good, not entertaining, very... How do you make a neo-noir film in this day and age with absolutely no style whatsoever? That's my contention, and it's very badly written and directed all over the place, and it really does a very poor job of balancing neo-noir and Liam Neeson action, which that comes out on occasion. And the only two really good performances I can remember are Jessica Lange and who's the other one who's really good in it? I can't remember Colin Meaney, there we go. And beyond that, it was just very uninspired and very uninteresting. One thing that also rubbed me the wrong way during the film was the accents. Like, I don't dislike Diane Kruger, and I don't like the fact that she's making more than one appearance in a year of thing. She was in last year's list. But at the same time, you know, she doesn't do a particularly good accent when it comes to some of this stuff. Like, I know she's trying to be American, but the German keeps creaking out at some points, and that's always great. And beyond that, Alan Cumming with his very dumb Southern accent, which makes it sound like a character from... I can't remember what it is, but essentially he just sounds a bit ridiculous as well, and it's not a very good film.
About something, right? You know, people say all the time that, I've heard this in circles, that Liam Neeson needs to retire. Do you think that's true?
Well, he needs to retire for doing films like this, at the very least, which spunk whatever talent he has remaining, and so on.
What do you mean? Like, do you think he should go into what films?
Well, actual good films. That's what, not... And to be fair, I don't blame him for this sort of thing, because there's a good cast. It's Neil Jordan is quite a good director, apparently.
Was this in cinemas, or was this like another straight to Sky type
both
film?
thing? Yeah, both.
Oh, okay, cool.
I mean, it's not terrible, but it's very boring and got nothing out of it. But yeah, it's not even on my worst list, because it wasn't even that uninteresting. It was not good, but it wasn't particularly inspiring or anything else like that. And is there anything else? It's just not a good detective story either. It doesn't really work that way. And yeah, it was just very dull and uninspired. And one other thing as well is that the dumb accents were a bit put-offing in a way, because after seeing The Boston Strangler this year, last year rather, when Keira Knightley,
so good.
with Keira Knightley in it, who does a very good attempt at a Boston accent in my opinion, and doesn't... I don't know why these people couldn't
pull off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just why this film isn't very good. And yeah, The Boston Strangler is actually much better. Even though it's not on my best of list, it's perfectly fine. At least that tried, which this one was just a bit dead at the wheel or whatever. And
I didn't know anything about that story, though. I found that super interesting. I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know where that was going.
Yeah.
And I was just sat there going, oh my god, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a good film.
I like how we're moving on to a completely different subject matter, because Marlowe's like... Anyway, but in all seriousness, that's Marlowe. Just don't watch it unless you need some... unless you're an insomniac, or unless you have to watch literally every Liam Neeson movie. Yeah. Anyway, but what's your number 5 then?
You hate this, right?
Yeah.
It's Napoleon, my number 5.
I don't hate that at all, in terms of
You
opinion.
do, right?
I mean, it was underwhelming, I thought.
You call it the wrong opinion, though.
No?
Anyway, like, the problem with this, it started, okay. I thought, it's going to be, I call it, right? I have this new terminology where it's called a grey film.
Yes.
Where it means just dull. It's not bad, but it's just grey.
Yeah.
It's just boring, right? So I just call it grey. So I thought, oh, it's going to be a grey film. Okay, I can just sit for it. And it just went on. And it carried on. And I thought, yeah, we're going to be here a while. And then the plot was just like, oh, God, this is overdone, isn't it? And this is going to be a controversial one. I can't pronounce his name. Is it
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think he was very good.
I thought he was fine. Just I find it weird that they picked someone who's much older than Napoleon was in real life when he, became Emperor of France or first consul, whatever his first position was.
Do you want to know what I find interesting?
Yeah.
I think that maybe I just don't like him as an actor because I didn't like him in Joker either, and I find that really interesting because he seems so loved in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And yet I just don't like him as an actor. Maybe it's just me. I have a problem.
He was quite good in Signs, to be fair.
Oh, of course he was in Signs. Yeah, he was very good in Signs. But I don't know. With Napoleon, it was just a very grey movie. And then they kept focusing on this plot. This is what, you know what? I can't be bothered to remember certain aspects because it's grey.
Yeah.
And it was so dull. On his wife at the time.
Yeah, Josephine, yes.
They focused on that so much. And I'm just sitting there at this point going, next, I'm done. And you'll never guess what happened to me in the last 5 minutes. Edward loves this. Because he didn't notice, I don't think, until the last minute. I fell asleep.
Yeah, well. On the thing with...
I had a Diet Coke and chips because we went to the cinema that serves food and stuff. So I should have been kept awake, right? Hypothetically, still fell asleep. How is that possible?
Because the film isn't very good. Well, not very good, sorry. I thought it was okay. I just wish it could have been so much better. Especially with Ridley Scott and everything.
Right.
And I was a little bit worried hearing all this stuff about they're making Josephine the main focus, which some of these accounts I read saying, oh no, they're actually doing this. And they did actually do that. Especially at the end where they, imply very strongly that she was his main motivator. I'm pretty sure Andrew Roberts, historian, who's done pretty much the most out of anyone else to cover Napoleon in the modern times, would disagree with that. And my thing on that is he says that the film's only has 38 minutes of accuracy in it, which I would trust his opinion more than Ridley Scott's on that matter. And I like Ridley Scott, but this should have been a lot better. The Battle of Waterloo sequence is very good, though.
100%.
It's very good. Just I wish there was more of that as opposed to, I like Josephine.
Yeah,
I'm a cook.
Yeah, what the hell? No, it's just, my main problem is that as far as I'm aware, I don't know much about him, okay? I never studied him in school or anything, but he was meant to be like this whole battle, guy.
The military general,
general. And I felt like I came out of this historical movie knowing absolutely nothing about that. I felt like I just learnt about a guy that was obsessed with his wife who then divorced her even, because couldn't have a kid with him even. God, my words tonight. Have a good one with that.
We're going for food later, you wouldn't guess.
And I'm just sitting here that really sucks. That's such a shame because it did have a lot of potential, but what can you do?
I didn't dislike the film. I just thought it could have been so much better, and it should have been so much better, and that's all I'll really say. And yeah, okay. So now for my number 5, which is the Hunger Games. The new Hunger Games one. I can't remember the full title. A song. What was it called again?
A Ballad of
Songbirds and Snakes. There we go. Which I wasn't particularly hugely impressed with, to be honest, because I didn't like. But yeah, the Hunger Games, the newest one, which I wasn't particularly a huge fan of, because I am not a huge fan of those films anyway. The only ones I really like were the Mockingjay ones, but generally I wasn't a huge fan. Mainly because I just thought they were not particularly. I don't know, just something about them didn't really appeal to me. And this one was one of my least favourite out of the bunch, which isn't a good sign. Because I thought, My main contention is that there's no one to really root for. Everyone's backstabbing each other. I mean, there was this really good video by a channel called the FEE a couple of years ago about TV having no morality because every character is a bit of a douchebag in all these major shows. And this felt like that when there's not one really good character. They're all backstabbing each other. And it made it kind of like, why do I care? And also, it's like, why do they focus so much on Cornelius Snow, given that this film doesn't really explain why he became a sinister villain in the end. And it could have focused literally on anyone else, but they focus on him. And there's no reason to make this a prequel. It doesn't add anything. And one thing that I did think was strange was that this is very filmically like sort of 2014 in the way they decided to do it.
But the thing is, I kind of get that part, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if this is right, but I think I get that. Just to sort of add, maybe, to the other Hunger Games films, just sort of add to the flow as to when they came out, but I'm not sure. It's not excusing that, but I don't know. But you see, I read the book of that, and there's, I don't know, the book stands out way more than the film does, but I haven't put it, spoiler alert, on my worst list, because when I get the chance to, when it comes out for free, wink wink, on like streaming services or something, I'm gonna watch it again, because when I saw it at the cinema, I didn't like it, but then I thought about it and then I was like, and I thought about it again. So I'm gonna give it another watch. But Edward has officially made his mind up.
I also didn't like. I like some of the casting decisions, like Peter Dinklage and so on, but that's about as much as I cared about, to be honest. And again, there's no reason to make this a prequel. And again, it felt really weird that this film doesn't feel like, if you were to have told me that if I were to have been in a coma 10 years ago, and this is the first film you'd shown me, I would have still assumed we would have been in 2014 still.
Oh,
this is what
God.
This film felt like. It just felt a bit strange, and I just didn't realise they were still making these sort of films anymore, and this just adds nothing to those films, and it doesn't make this particularly exciting, and it's really overlong too, and there's a bunch of dumb decisions that and essentially it's just not a particularly easy film to warm to, which is why I didn't warm to it as a whole, I would say.
Alright, this is going to be an interesting one. Now, I don't want you all to hate me. It's Oppenheimer. Alright. Oppenheimer was 3 films in one. Okay. It was about the guy that made the bomb. It was about literally everything that happened at the time while the bomb was being made. And it was about his personal life as well. I don't understand why we couldn't have that like an individual film. Oh, sorry, the third point I was going to make was actually the actual bomb. Sorry, the actual bomb potentially being dropped. No, that was the 3 points. Sorry, I just realised I repeated myself. Anyway, why couldn't we have one of those films? Why on earth did I have to sit through 2.5 or 3 hours, whatever long
3 hours, yeah.
3 hours of that? I don't get it. It was strange to me. I know people will sit there and go, because it's historical, because it was important to the time, etc, etc. Don't get it. What's such a shame though, it has so many class actors, but the script that was provided was bland, useless, and trash. I don't get it. The past year, I've had 2 problems with historical films. Maybe they're not for me. I don't know. Or maybe studios need to sit down, do some research, and figure out how to do historical films properly. I don't know. Because there were great they have no excuse to mess up this film. There were great actors in there, and I apologise in advance for mispronouncing his name. You can correct me.
Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, right? Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt.
Matt Damon.
There's just 3 examples were in this film. Brilliant, right? How the hell can you mess up a film like that? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's ridiculous. And yet it also wins BAFTAs. Right, we don't know if it's won any Oscars yet, but when this video is released, it probably would have won like 8 million Oscars. I don't see what everyone's seeing. I really don't, because I felt like I was watching a headache being formed. I don't know. It was really weird. I felt like I was watching someone having a migraine. I was developing one. It was really weird. See, that's the point. I can't explain it. I can't. Oh dear. Oh yeah, do you want to know who I just forgot was in it? Robert Downey Jr. I feel like they wasted this cast because there's so many brilliant people in it. You had it handed to you on a plate and you messed it up. It's so rubbish. Oh dear. And do you want to know what makes it even worse? Right? The next film on the list. This situation happened again. This is another spoiler, right? This situation happened again, right? Except it was a different genre. And more, pardon my French, more shit hit the fan. How does that make sense? Right, I can't go on anymore, otherwise we'll be here for a week. But I'm just saying that's why it's number 4. Because it could have been, you could have made 3 different movies out of this, and they probably would have been good. That's what's so frustrating. How does this work? I don't understand. I don't understand. Edward, if you want to interject, please do.
Well, I didn't dislike it as much as you, and my main contention is that it's 3 hours, and it should have a bit more of a focus for a film that's 3 hours long. And my main contention is that I really eye roll at, oh, it's really awful that he was picked on for being a communist, which is okay, I get that point, but yeah. I guarantee that many people would say, oh, it's terrible that he was being picked on for that, will be the same ones who now cheer on certain other things, like, say, a certain British political leader getting debanked, or certain parties being banned in Germany, or certain things happening in America right now, so I'll leave it out before this gets a bunch of negative dislikes.
Yeah, before the video gets taken down.
Anyway, but that's just all I have to say. I didn't dislike, I thought it was better than Tenet, but, you know, better than mediocre is, you know, not better very much. What? Tenet.
Oh, I disagree. It wasn't. It just wasn't.
Number 4 is, on mine is Elevator Game, this Shudder original horror film, which I watched, I'm not saying how. Completely crappy horror movie, very badly acted, very poorly made. There are scenes where they walk in, I guess, downtown Toronto, wherever they film this in Canada, and you can't hear, you know, you can't hear any footsteps. Maybe it's the version I watched, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Dumb plot stuff going on all about, like, oh, what was it? They can't hear, security guys who'll close off this building. There's only one security guy, and he doesn't stop, like, 5 people going into this stupid game. You know, no likable character. Like, they're all really unlikable and don't get along. We're just wondering how they make a YouTube channel, which is what the whole thing of the film was about.
Is the Elevator Game like when you have to do it in the order, like 1,
yes,
7,
it's based on that.
And then you have to get to 10, and then it goes up or something?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And they do nothing with that concept, and it's not particularly
awful.
It's like, they all hate each other. Why do they make this YouTube channel together? It's very badly put together, and I just didn't like it very much. And the only other thing I could really say about it is, what else? Is that it just is not very good. It looks very cheap and not in a good way. And I just don't get why they are making this 10 years later. Well, after this, all the creepypastas became popular, like, sort of like where they made the Slender movie, like, 5 years later after that was popular, or a certain other film that's coming up 10 years after the game's popular. I don't get why they didn't do this when the stuff was hot, but I don't know. It just seems like all the millennials have grown up that sort of thing of a bit aged out of this stuff, including myself, but I don't, and
Gen Z.
And it's just not very good. It's just not very good horror, but it's not worse than a certain other film that's at number 1. Sorry, Joe Blow horror, but no, it's not that.
Mate.
And is there anything else to say beyond that? It's just not scary, and it's just crappy horror. That's just really what it is to say, crappy horror. And one thing I would say is at least the Hunger Games one is not too bad, whereas everything down here from below is like 1 star pretty much, I would say. 1 star? Yeah, I would say so. All the way down. So let's go.
Barbie.
For your number 3.
Yeah. Bloody Barbie. First 20 minutes. So funny. That's what's right. Bet you're wondering, why is it above Oppenheimer then? Okay, tell you why. So then, obviously, everyone sees in the trailer, she goes into the real world. Okay, fine. go into the real world with Ken. Edward's gonna love this.
I've heard about this sort of thing, but I
Right.
didn't delve into it.
All of a sudden, okay, just to summarise it, they get separated, and then Ken all of a sudden
Joins the alt-right.
all of a sudden looks around and sees, men rule the world. Sees pictures of, like, the only one that sticks out in my mind for whatever reason is like Bill Clinton. I don't know why. It's weird. It's not set in like that era. That's what makes it so peculiar. And then before you know it, Ken manages to go back to Barbie land or whatever it's called, and then Barbie goes back with. See, I don't care about these other people. That's why I just don't care with these two other people. And she takes them with her, and then it's all of a sudden run by the Kens, and they're treating the Barbies like trash. But the Barbies don't care. That's the thing. They're worshipping the Kens or something. And all of a sudden, I just can't describe it. And then right at the very end, Barbie ends up living in the real world. And there's something about, there's an extra scene saying Barbie's going to this place, and then she says, I want to see my gynecologist.
What? Sounds like a film that came out 10 years ago. Certainly has the politics of it. I mean...
And do you want to know something? I went to see this film. You ready for this? The fun bit. I'm not, like, with my mum. We turned and looked at each other. Her words, not mine. Well, that was weird. And I went, no. Then she turned to me and started laughing. She went, my God, what a waste of time. She said, that's such a shame. And I went, yeah, wasn't it? Her words, not mine. Spot on. And always listen to your mothers, kids. They're always right. Oh my God. I swear down, that was the most weirdest film I think I've seen, and not in a good way. There's a good word and a bad word. That was a bad word. And do you want to know something that's worse? They had a great cast as well. Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling. Just two. Right? Just two of the top names. If you Google online Barbie cast, just look at the list. It's mad. I just don't get it. And if they pick up one Oscar...
They're not going to. I don't think it's... Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry.
Alright. Then that telly's shutting down from there. Forget it.
Right.
I just don't understand how they're allowed to get away with stuff like that. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. There was kids in there dressed in pink, and then I'm just sitting
Seeing
there.
that sort of film.
Yeah, and then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how are you getting away with... I don't know what rating the...
12A.
Oh, it was a 12A?
I'm pretty sure in Britain it was.
Oh, okay. And how are you getting away with letting kids see a film about practically politics? It's stupid.
Well, it is made by a New York art hipster director, so what do you expect?
I know. It's just stupid, though, isn't it? Yeah, I'm done. I can't talk about trash like that anymore. It's not even worth it. It's not worth my breath. I'm bored of it now. That's why my voice has gone monotone.
Yeah.
Don't care.
And my number 3 is Expendables 4, which... just no. And it's just a very bad action movie. I've only seen Expendables 2, which I liked very much. This feels like an asylum version of Expendables 4. It feels like an asylum version of that. Like, some of the production value is terrible. Like, the first big major action scene in Libya looks like something out of what do you call it? So, like the Area 51 video game. That's what it feels like. And some of the green screen's really bad, like amazingly bad. Like, it just looks like a student film, like a really bad one. And action wise, it's just not very good. It's not very well acted. It's not very well. Well, actually, it's well acted, but it's mainly a Jason Statham vehicle. Like, oh, Expendables, all these great action stars. Well, who did they have in this one? Let's see. Megan Fox and 50 Cent. Apparently, it's from 2007. And I don't want to sound like I'm being judged, but one thing of disbelief, Megan Fox, I'm sorry. Petite, thin Megan Fox cannot beat up Jason Statham or anyone else. Sorry, I don't buy that. It feels like Charlize Theron, I get it. But, you're someone who's built, tall, looks like a fight. Whereas, it's ridiculous. And the action's very bad. The twist is very obvious. Waste of Andy Garcia. effects are terrible throughout the whole thing. And the action scenes have no punch because they all, all the bad guys fall over like tissue paper. And one other thing that bothered me as well is that the lighting is really bad during good parts of it, where it's clearly badly coded. Again, bad production design. 100 million this cost, apparently. Don't know where they got the money from. And very weak bad guy as well.
Just Go Fund Me.
Possibly. I just don't get it. I just think this is the last one in this series. I can't believe they made more than, necessary required. I mean, I like the Expendables 2 fine. It could have been a lot better, but at least I had that really good action scene at the end with Norris, who we've met, actually.
Yeah,
and all the other one.
Cool guy.
Yeah, and all the other people in that one, whereas, Sylvester Stallone isn't even in this for most of it. He's just like, gets out early, comes back at the end. I would say spoilers, but what is there to fucking spoil a film like this? And, they don't do anything for most of the film, which is not very fun. And no effort, clearly. There's just no effort. And how fitting that they end the film with a really shit cover of The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy. How fitting. Microcosm of what this film is. And, just the production design is not very good. And, waste of Andy Garcia, very bad twist. Oh, yeah, 50 Cent's in it. I'm surprised they didn't have more of his songs in it. Like, they only have one song, and I don't think it's his obvious one. I mean, a film that's on our best, or at least my best of, has a 50 Cent song in it as well, so at least that makes up for it. Yeah. But, this is very weak. The acting's actually fine, just waste of a somewhat solid cast. Oh, yeah, and I really hate the beginning. They have sort of emotional stuff that really feels out of place in a film like this, especially given the twist ending. And, this just wasn't very... And they also have, woke stuff in there about berating Jason Statham being manly. It's just not very good, and I'm just a bit amazed that... what's the point 10 years later after the last one, which wasn't particularly good either, apparently, and didn't do very well. At least it had big names in it, like Mel Gibson, who's going to appear on the best of, by the way, for obvious reasons if you know what film he produced. But this is just... it's very poor. Very poor, and... Jason Statham and Sylvester Stallone could do much better than this. Megan Fox, I'm not so sure, but to be fair, I don't think she's actually as bad an actress as people claimed she was, but what's she doing in a film like this, for fuck's sake? One of the great action stars, okay, maybe if you were a teenage boy in 2008, I suppose, watching Transformers and that scene. But that's all I have to say about Expendables 4, and number 2 and number 1 we agree on them, so...
2 is,
Five Nights at Freddy's, yep. And another very bad video game adaptation. And inexcusably bad this time, because we've got so many other great video game adaptations coming out now. Like the Sonic movies, which are quite good, especially the second one.
It's blimmin' inexcusable as well, because the guy, I swear, partook in it. And
he co-wrote it, produced it, so it's much his baby. Fucking Jason Blum, which...
Oh my god.
I hate you.
It's just a joke as well. There was also a minute, I don't know if you'd call it a scandal, would you? I don't know. A mini thing where all these YouTubers were meant to be in it.
Oh, and they weren't in it, yeah.
Then all of a sudden they were like, cut.
If they'd lead into that would have made the film a little bit obvious, but at least it would have been somewhat amusing, whereas this doesn't lean into any of that.
I don't even know if it would be worse.
I'm not being funny. They lean into this thing that has an online fan base, but they do nothing with it.
Yeah.
And it's not scary again, and it's very... and again, talking about video... Super Mario Bros. Movie earlier this year was pretty solid too.
Oh my god, I really like that movie.
This is not very good, it's not scary. And just the idea of how bad this is.
Yeah.
This film is set in 2000, because there's a bit of camera footage which shows us in 2000.
Yeah.
The film is an 80s pizzeria, which is what the fast bar thing is.
Exactly.
And they do nothing with either of those things, but in the middle of the film they play Elastica.
It's stupid.
I mean, not being funny, but it's like if I set a film in 2010, set it in a 90s arcade, and for whatever reason I started playing in the middle of it, Snow Patrol, chasing cars.
It's frustrating. Because...
I'm nothing against either of those bands except for Chasing Cars, which can fuck off, but I just don't... It's just so out of place, it doesn't add anything to the movie.
And what's even more frustrating, right, is that I haven't played the game.
Neither have I.
Okay. But I've... Oh god, it's going to sound
Made
so
Markiplier's career.
But I've watched...
Talented guy, I'm not complaining.
But I've watched him play, right? And these animatronics are meant to be threatening. They're there to kill you, I swear.
Yep.
And then there's one scene where they gathered this little kid.
Yep.
And they're dancing with the little kid.
That's the one I meant, the Elastica thing.
Yeah. I'm so confused. Like, what the have I lost something? I don't know. I don't understand Edwards.
I just think this film is very not good. And one of the things, like, the animatronics in this are actually very good. Like, Jim Henson, apparently, again, the best savior of a bad film is usually his company's animatronics. Rest in peace of Mr. Henson, actually. Yeah. And I just think this wasn't very good. And one other thing that bugged me was, Matthew Lillard's in this as well, which wastes of a good presence. Yeah. Watch 13 Ghosts in that. He's much better in that film, and that film is much better than this, because at least that film is perhaps a little bit too, like, sappy in parts, but at least it has good gore in it. At least that has a much better use of Matthew Lillard, and it has much better production values than this.
I've been online, like, I scroll through TikTok as you do and stuff, and people make these things called edits, obviously. If you've been online, been in the world, you'd know this.
Gen Z.
And and you.
No.
And there's loads of Five Nights at Freddy's on there. People love this movie, and I don't know why.
Because I haven't seen any other good horror movies to compare it to. I haven't seen Willy's Wonderland or whatever Nicolas Cage film it is. I haven't either. It's probably, I guarantee it has much better than this. I mean, it has Beth Grant in it from Donnie Darko, so how could it not be good?
And if you want to see, right?
Yeah.
A good Josh Hutcherson films. You're gonna disagree, so come on.
Hunger Games, but those films are much better than this anyway, so I'm not gonna sneer at you for that.
I love those films Hunger Games franchise.
Those films are at least had effort put into this, which
apparently he's in other films that he's brilliant in.
Well, I don't dispute that, like British Terrific, which I haven't seen because it had that really fucked ending. I met Robert Patrick though, very nice guy, even though I thought I was a bit of a weirdo with my main get up, but still a nice guy. And my sister's seen him in Reacher recently, so there's that.
Yeah, so cool.
And the other thing about that is what was it? The fact that, as we were talking about earlier, the creator of the games is co-writing this thing, producing. So as much as these other people are like, it's their thing being, no, it's his fault too. And as much as I like to say Trumpers need to stick together, in his case, I'm thinking, fucking make a better film, buddy. Yeah. And I did lean into anything online stuff. And the last thing I'll say, there's also this stupid subplot about, they need to rescue the kid or whatever, this custody, but like, oh god. And the final thing, and it's very cliched in the way that handles it too. The final thing I will say is that, in terms of this film, who thought the worst film of last year involving kids abducted?
Yeah.
And the rest was the ending of Saw, which is great. I just remembered that. Which, go and watch Saw instead. That actually has teeth to it, and that's a really good horror movie, whereas this is not. And, costs good arm and leg to see, it's a fucking everyman. Anyway. Oh, God. And, oh, God, what is it? Oh.
I don't even know.
The film, who thought the worst film of last year involving child abduction would not be the one made by the fundamentalist Christians out of Utah? Who would have thought it would have been fucking Five Nights at Freddy's? Like, if Markiplier had been in this or something, it would have been inspired. And the twists are very lame and obvious. Mate. It doesn't set that up very well. This is just very bad.
I would have loved
one of the worst horror movies of the year, but not the worst, because number one is, drumroll, Winnie-The-Pooh, Blood and Honey.
I don't want to talk about
I have one word review.
I don't want to talk about this in more than 5 seconds, so can we move on, please?
No, because I want to just emphasise how fucking bad this film is.
I'm not talking about it. I don't want
to. Okay, just really fucking the worst sort of cynical cash grab I think I've ever seen. Like, this is the one film that's, I would say, is completely fucking unwatchable. Really, really badly acted. Like, some of the worst acting I've ever seen in any horror movie this side of the Human Centipede. And that's, just fucking mentally dumb. Those costumes are fucking really fake.
Whoever made those costumes needs shooting.
Yes.
They need shooting.
Oh,
writing
God.
Needs shooting.
Everything does.
Sound design was it bad or no?
Yeah, it was very bad. Mark Hamill was very nice to that guy on the thing just because he called in, otherwise he probably would have said it's shit, which it is.
Very bad. Everything was bad. Worst film I've ever seen. Not just in 2023, in my whole life. How about that? Yeah, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've had enough.
Well, I'm going to still just sprinkle this.
You can go for it.
But the acting is very poor, and it's probably the worst one of the worst horror movies ever made. Certainly the worst British horror movie ever made. Of that many contenders, and the worst film of last year. Also, what else was really bad? Just a bunch of plot twists are done. The kills are very badly CG gore. Like, even I could do better gore than this because Amelia knows we did the film together.
Oh, yeah. That was so jokes. That was so
Yeah,
funny.
and the acting is very bad, and the writing is very bad, and doesn't make any sense. And, you know, characters are very stupid in this. Ugh, fuck. And it's just not fun. It's just not... At least I thought this could be fun, but it's too cynical. And the thing that probably makes me most annoyed is that the film, unlike a good chunk of... Like, it's actually, to be fair, well made, weirdly enough, given how cheap this film was. It's actually fairly... Like, there's two scenes in there with, you know, very bad... With sort of odd lighting, but generally I think it's a well-shot movie. I think, what else? Well shot. I think the opening animated thing was well done. I liked it. It set up the film quite nicely. And that's annoying because there was clearly some effort, but nowhere near enough. And the fact they're making any more of this makes me fucking sick. I would say this isn't worse than Blackbird. It's less fun. I would rank it lower than Blackbird in terms of how much I like. But at least the kids who made this didn't have much money to spend. Whereas Michael Flatley has quite a lot of money to spend. So actually there's no excuse with him. And he can hire actual actors like Eric Roberts, who also made Comic-Con.
Oh, shall we just list them off for you?
Well, these people going to Comic-Con, I'm never meeting them. I mean, I just hope
I'm just... You know what? That actually makes me sick. Like, why should they go? Like,
well, some people actually genuinely like the film, I guess. All
ridiculous.
10 of them.
I don't believe that for a second.
I just hope and also it's just very mentally dumb, and it's just... There's this dumb scene at the end where the rednecks are fighting... Oh god! And they're watching The Stranger in such a beautiful contrast.
People that are watching this now, in the comments, it's your channel, so you'll be looking at this,
Sure.
won't you?
What's the time, by the way?
20 past.
Good, that's fine.
Go in the comments right now. If you like this movie, explain to us why. I would love to know. Please tell us. I would love to know. I would love to know, even if it's ironic. I just want to know. To be fair, what I would say is that even in like horror forums, like I'm on Facebook, like no one really likes this movie. This is just... Yeah, but if there's just one on planet Earth and they happen to come across this video, I would love to know. Just why. Just tell me why. I would love to know. Ain't nothing. Yeah, but this is just garbage, and it's very badly acted, very badly written. And it's just has nothing to do with Winnie-the-Pooh either. Like, I thought even if it could be offensively bad in that way, it'd be something. But it's so lame, it's not even that. Yeah. And I just hope, my final comment on this film is I hope the house it paid for, the mortgage it paid for, the student loans it paid off, you know, all that shit, I hope was worth it for this sort of garbage. Yeah, and the thing it reminds me of is that great line in an Empire review about parting shots of Michael Winner's last film, where he noted about how all these British filmmakers are not projecting myself on how I'm planning on making a film where I'm not going to be bothered to get up again. Who can't make it to the film industry in Britain, but then this guy who made Passing, you know, Death Wish 25 years ago, can do it. Like, these people exploited a niche, but they didn't even do it very well. This is just fucking one fucking star garbage. Like, fucking... Stuff that, 0 stars.
There we are. I think that's all we need to say about it, beyond just... The fact that it's made so much money is very depressing, and they target critics. Well, fuck you too. Like, what's that line in the Real Slim Shady? Like, you know, about he's not like that guy, so fuck him and fuck you too. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Which I know this might get this demonetized, but yeah, all the rest of it. Yeah, how many times have we sworn in this time? But it's just this film is bad. It can't so bad it kind of deserves it. Yeah, and it's just a very lame, uninspired slasher. And you left. Oh, it's just mentally dumb and mentally aggravating and very fake. You know, again, the fact that it's mostly well made, you know, highlights how bad the rest of it is. Like, there was some effort, but clearly not enough. I just hope these people actually did put effort into making the film in terms of production design, make better stuff in the future, not this. I can't believe they're making another one. Simon Callow's going to be in it, and who? Simon Callow, the famous British actor. Oh, sorry, I misheard. I thought you said Simon Cowell. And I was like, what? Anyway, I think he goes from, like, Shakespeare and shit to Charles Dickens to this. And is there anything else to say? No, please don't. No. Oh, just, yeah, it just starts bad and continues bad, and not scary, 1 star garbage. There we are. All right, let's go on to the best, people. Okay, do you want to start with honourable mentions? Yes.
Okay, here are some honourable mentions. Super Mario Bros. Easy. The writers should knock on the Five Nights at Freddy's door. This is how you make a good video game film. No, really not hard. Okay. And Tetris. True story. Blimmin' enjoyed it. So interesting. Oh my god. I was just shocked at how many hoops
they had to go through.
They had to go through to be able to be able to get that game to market. Yeah. I was just my jaw dropped. I was just, oh man, it was just astonishing. Great movie.
And do you have any others, or shall I move?
No, perfect.
My honourable mentions would be The Whale by Darren Aronofsky, his best film to date. Brendan Fraser probably deserved the Oscar, but I'm not seeing any other actors. I haven't seen like Elvis or anything like that. A really good performance by Sadie Sink and Samantha Morton as well. Probably should have been nominated for Oscars as well. And I thought it was at least quite interesting. And what was it? The thing that bothers me though is with all of Darren Aronofsky's films, when it's like about pathetic characters, his films are either pseudo-intellectual religious epics that will make Dan Brown look really smart, or pathetic characters who don't bother to help themselves, but we're the good guys. And this is one of the better, and they're all bogged down by sort of the Hobbesian view he has of life being solitary, poor, nasty, British, and short. And he doesn't have one of these characters that are like, to be fair, at least Brendan Fraser's a more likable actor than Mickey Rourke or, you know, the characters of Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, that.
And to be fair, at least, you know, there's a positive ending to this one. And the camera's not on everyone's face all the time.
Yeah.
But it's that Hobbesian worldview that puts it back for me and stops it from being great. But, you know, he probably deserved the Oscar and all the rest of it. And I do like it's a Darren Aronofsky film that isn't in everyone's face all the time. My other honourable mention is a horror film, which unfortunately no one was good enough to, excuse me, break the top 5 list this year, which is Thanksgiving by Eli Roth. Quite standard slasher fair with a really good twist. Who knew, spoiler, Patrick Dempsey, yeah, him.
Yeah.
Would be a good villain, and in an Eli Roth film, which is interesting. I wish it would have leaned into the Grindhouse stuff, like the fake trailer and Grindhouse indicated. But I thought it was perfectly good, and I think Eli Roth's very talented. I actually like Hostel, so I wish some of them would break the list, but not this year. I'm putting this in the horror thing and a horror forum to think, and unfortunately not any in the top 5. But I tried. I would have really liked that, which I did, but it wasn't quite good enough, I'm afraid. What's your number 5?
Right, number 5, we have... God, that awkward moment when your brain goes quiet. Okay. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the word. Oh, this is so funny. Taylor Swift, the...
Eras Tour.
Yeah, you know what? I've started having this weird moment where I can't pronounce that word. That's poor, isn't it? Okay, went to the cinema and I watched that concert. I've always loved Taylor Swift and I just absolutely class. It's coming to Disney Plus next Friday. And I can't wait. So, Edward, have fun. Your sister's going to
I don't dislike Taylor Swift, to be fair.
Over and over again.
I don't dislike Taylor Swift. I just find it interesting that they could fill enough footage for 3 hours. I didn't
Of course they can.
I mean, she's not King Crimson or something, or Pink Floyd.
Excuse me. Just don't question.
To be fair, I like who couldn't fill like a 3 hour concert. Arctic Monkeys, I don't think could fill a 3 hour concert.
Well, they haven't re-recorded all their albums, have they? So.
Well, yeah, but it's the same albums. And again, I don't dislike Taylor Swift.
Don't mind.
I like Taylor Swift fine.
Enjoy. How do you?
But the Taylor Swift psyop, according to certain people on Facebook, insane clown party. I'm not sure what Damon Albarn said, and that was a joke.
It's quality. It's just class, and she's just amazing.
Is it all just music all the way through their interviews?
No, just music.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like The Last Waltz or Give Me Shelter or something. Well, actually, it's not like Give Me Shelter because no one's murdered at the end. Anyway.
No, I just think it's great, honestly.
She never wrote anything as good as Feel Good Inc. though. Anyway, number 5.
She did,
Number 5 on my list is Anatomy of a Fall, which we only watched the other day, and thankfully it was good enough to make the list. And I thought it was quite a good courtroom drama. Pretty standard in my opinion, but I thought it was very well done. And I just thought it was very well done. The poor doggy though, but dogs are magic because literally it's 3 things we've seen where the dogs are magic and they save the day.
Yeah, I know. The doggies are magic.
So they save this woman's child from being, sent to prison Thank God it wasn't the guillotine that she would have been facing too long way.
Yeah.
What else did the doggy do? In that Christmas film you watched, where it actually saved,
Oh my God! The dog in this blooming Hallmark Christmas film found this bauble under the sofa.
Yeah.
And it turns out that
someone's dead husband.
Yeah, this husband that they all thought was dead at war or something. But they were all like, "Oh, it's a sign that he might not be dead." Because the body wasn't found, and it turns out that he wasn't dead. Yay! Happy.
Dogs are magic, and there was also the Grudge game, which played through. I've been seeing for the Wii one, which
just walks through and survives.
Walks through an abandoned factory, not get troubled by any of these ghosts. Whereas the player character has to be chased by these things.
Oh my God!
But I like Anatomy of a Fall. And this is the other film that features the 50 Cent song, which Pimp plays throughout this, which I thought that was a bit weird. Shows how Americanized much of Europe is, which it could be worse. I guess it could be European Unionized. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And let's move on to number 4 on yours.
Number 4. Sorry. Okay, it's got to be the Dungeons and Dragons Beyond Thieves. It has to be. Right, so I'll tell you why. Because the Chris Pine
Tree.
Yeah.
Beyond the Pines. I think he's actually in a film called Beyond the Pines, or am I thinking of Ryan Gosling?
And Hugh Grant were class. Absolutely brilliant. And the reason why I call this man the guy from Bridgerton is because I don't know his actual name.
Theo James, I think, might be his name, but is he black or white?
Black.
Oh, okay. Well, it's British, and of course he's going to be black, I suppose.
Excuse me? He was...
Wouldn't it be funny if you watch, like, say...
I haven't even seen that series, and I knew he was from that show.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, if you watch, like, it's like watching, like watching a film about...
Apparently, that entire series is, like, first 3 episodes is, like, talking and stuff, and then the rest of it is text.
Give it a second. There we go.
So I'm like, no, thanks, I'm good.
Which, yeah, it's like, as I was saying earlier, it's like watching a James Luke Goddard film, which rest in peace to him as well, and being surprised that everyone in it's, oh, they're French, that's a bit weird.
Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying. The plot line, absolutely fantastic. And, the fact that it was based on the game, I thought they followed that really well.
I didn't realise you were into Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, you were into it because of Stranger Things. Oh, I see.
See, you've always got to do it. I'm dedicated. You have to understand, Edward.
Maybe we'll get Tom Holland around so we can knock Scarlet Johansson off the thing or whatever.
Anyway, you have to do your
I just hope he doesn't watch Planet of the Apes and spoil it for everybody.
Oh my God. Anyway, I've lost my thread.
Talking about
anyway, every action scene is brilliant. I don't like all the is it CGI? I think it's
CG, yeah.
CGI, makeup, everything was class. I went to the cinema with Mum again, and she went like this. She went, and I went, Mum, stop it! Because then I kept screaming as well. And then there was a couple of rows next to us, and they looked at us twice, and I went, for God's sake! That's how you know you're watching a good movie.
Yeah.
So I had to put it on my 4.
There we are. One comment I nearly forgot to mention actually about Winnie-the-Pooh Blood and Honey, I don't know why I just sprung back to mine, but I thought I was going to say it anyway, is that it would have been a really good, solid Family Guy Robot Chicken sketch. That's all I wanted to say. That nearly slipped my mind, and I need to get it in there. Number 4 on my list is actually Polite Society, Anglo-Indian film, which is very good. I thought very funny, very inspired, and had a lot of heart, and very good sort of mixture of Bollywood and Tarantino, which is interesting. Much better than most of Tarantino's films these days. I like Reservoir Dogs, Don't Shoot Me. And I enjoyed the film quite a lot. And also one thing that's quite good about it is I ate poppadoms from Marks and Spencer's instead of popcorn, because I thought that'd be very fitting. And it's very fun and and I also like the sort of critique it has against arranged marriages, which is very nice. More spine in this film than most UK governments. But anyway.
Oh my God.
Number 3, Mila?
Well, number 3. People might disagree with this. The Marvels. I really like the Marvels. I found it everything I thought was really good about this. I also found it quite funny, and and literally everything was on point, because the night before I watched Miss Marvel and I was dreading it because of the write-up it had on it. There were some people saying it was not great.
Okay.
And you know what? From now on, I'm actually going to start ignoring people. I have to learn
Only
my
sometimes,
lesson.
Amelia.
Yeah, obviously.
Like if it's Winnie-the-Pooh Blonde Honey, you should stay away.
Yeah,
Which
sure.
I should have as well, but that was my stupid fault for watching that for Halloween.
Right? I've got to learn my lesson, right, with some of these things. Because I watched it, and I watched all 6 episodes in the end, and I was like, this is bloody brilliant. Honestly, and I was just like, I've really enjoyed this. And then she was really great in the Marvels as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then in Captain...
Critical Drinker doesn't like it though.
Oh no, whatever will I do? Anyway, shall I but yeah, I feel like it's a really underrated movie this year, because the most random stuff kept happening in it and I just kept laughing. It was just, and then they brought back stuff from Captain Marvel as well, and I thought, oh, that's really good. I really like that as well. And then the ending was rather good too. That credit scene, that was just class. Really, really good. Mate, I just thought, top notch. That's a nice touch. Well, I'm trying to do it without giving anything away.
I've already spoiled a good chunk of other films, Amelia. That's fine.
Yeah, but I'm a different breed. I'm a different person.
You're a cockapoo and a cavapoo.
Yes, I am. I'm just like, oh, you know what? I really enjoyed it. I put it at number 3 because the top 2 were just really, really class.
And I liked it fine as well, but there's not really much to say. I do, even in the film plot, I like the fact that the Miss Marvel actress, whatever her name is, actually took it very well, as opposed to Stephen King, who bitched about it online. It's like, okay, do your drugs again, buddy. And go and write your latest, like, random political book, whatever the fuck he's up to now. Like, Jesus, like, maybe you should get off Twitter sometime, I don't know. I mean, I'm not ready. I've got one of his books up. I've also got the short story collection, Different Seasons, which I need to read at some point. I even at one point wanted to read it when the 2017 thing came out, but I didn't get around to it in the end. And it's a Donnie Darko as well, so there's that. Anyway, and that's your number 3, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. My number 3 is Tetris, which I really enjoyed. Oh, good. Another video game movie, even though not technically like that. I really am a sucker for Cold War dramas, because I like... The Cold War is a very interesting subject. I've been interested in it since I've been at school, since I was in secondary school. I touched a part of the Berlin Wall, actually, which felt very cold, which is very fitting. And this is very interesting, very enjoyable. And, you know, I like how viciously anti-communist it is, which we need more films that are viciously anti-communist, that's all I'll say. I really liked... I like the video game parts, even though they're a bit gimmicky. I like the car chasing in, even though I know it was spruced up, shall we say. Yeah. And also the sort of really... You know, how vicious this regime was, and sort of, and it's very good. I just thought it was very good, very enjoyable, very watchable. And I don't really have much more to say than that. Just, I wish this had a bit of a wider release beyond Apple TV, but it's still very good anyway. You know, thank you, Matthew Vaughn, and just, maybe you and Guy Ritchie should get back together and start making great stuff like Lockstock again, because you seem to have taken off where he sort of stumbled, I suppose. He has not made a great film since Lockstock, in my opinion, but that's just my attitude. Anyway, number 2.
Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Oh, this film was just different than the previous 2, and it sort of had to be it generally had to be, because when in Avengers Endgame they decided to bring Gamora back from the past, I thought, okay, right, they're obviously going to have to make it different and all that. Then they were going to have to change sort of like the storyline between Peter and all that. Star-Lord, sorry, and all that. And, yeah, anyway, see, I'm really slowing down a bit.
And at the end, it's fine.
And I'm like, it just felt really different in a good way. Like, because, with the first film, everyone was obsessed over it.
I remember.
And I was a bit like...
Is that it?
Yeah, really? I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but I just thought, I don't get what the fuss is. The second one was much better.
Kurt Russell.
But the third one is just on the nose. Really did it for me. Just way better. Classier. Just had everything for me. With Rocket, it was just... Yeah, that nearly made me cry. It was just... yeah, I was nearly in tears. I feel like that was perfect. They did that really, that did that storyline really, really well. I'm sounding like I'm talking about EastEnders, but you know, like the storyline and EastEnders.
I don't realise anyone said that about EastEnders anymore. I didn't realise anyone still watched it.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm sounding like I'm talking about a soap.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, there was just everything was done right for that film. There's the only reason I didn't put it at 1. The only reason I didn't put it at 1 was because I'll tell you why with 1 when I talk about 1 in a minute. I'll tell you why. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 just hit a completely different note than the previous 2 films. 100%, definitely.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so but maybe you should, if you like Guardians of the Galaxy so much, maybe you should because you play the video game I got you for Christmas. Anyway, but my number 2 is controversial, I suppose, to Peter Wilby. Sound of Freedom, which I quite liked. I thought was very good, very effective, very hard to watch. But I would concede if it was, you know, not well made or not good, if it had been easy to watch, rather, it wouldn't have been a good film. It wouldn't have been very effective. And I thought it's very well acted, serious, and even though I thought the climax was a bit spruced up again, but I thought it was quite well handled. And what I would say is that I went to the cinema in Enfield and so on, and people actually stood up and applauded at the last bit where they're talking about the free tickets, which I didn't do because I think, you know, go and pay to see it for God's sake. You know, see original films. Give me a second. I think we couldn't get this working on it.
Yeah. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. And I thought this was very well acted, written and directed. Not very easy watch, but it wouldn't be a very good film if it was an easy watch, would it? You know, like sort of Straw Dogs I watched a couple of years back, which maybe that's not appropriate to talk about in this context. It would not have been a good film if it had been easy to watch. But some of the stuff that happens, or any of these films that tackle very difficult subject matter, if they are easy to watch, then they wouldn't have been any good, and they probably would have trivialized the subject, which this film didn't, and fair play to it. I know, you know, there's a lot of people who don't like it, which if they don't like it on legitimate grounds, that's fine. I am a little bit concerned about all the people who I see who don't like it because certain other people don't like it. Like, this film is a little bit too serious to do that with. It's not Kirk Cameron's latest Christmas movie. So, yeah. But one final thing I'll say is that this is very good. I would happily recommend everyone goes and sees it. I just hope this film doesn't age like milk, given the accusations against Tim Ballard that have since come out, you know, for the film. And I hope that they are, you know, that doesn't lead to anything too, you know, as in, if he's convicted, that'll be a dreadful shame, not only just because of the victims, obviously, but it won't just film like Milk, which is clearly less important, obviously. But it could be worse, I guess. It could be Baby Driver aging like Milk. How long was it until Kevin Spacey came out as, you know, I'm not going to say on YouTube, but watch Redding's video on it is very good. That's all I'll say. And number 1 film for you?
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. What can I say about that? It's just
You're welcome.
It's just a class film, really. It's just packed with everything you can imagine in the Spider-Man film and more. Everyone was great. Obviously, I'm gutted for the delay to the sequel, but you have to make it perfect, which I'm glad for. And the reason why, I can now say the reason why I didn't put Guardians of the Galaxy at number 1 was because with the Spider-Man film, it's different to anything I could predict to any other Spider-Man film. With this film, people were complaining online, saying that no Spider-Man would say to any other Spider-Man, oh, don't go and save your uncle or dad or whatever. They wouldn't try and stop him. Sorry, that's a spoiler, whatever.
I've already spoiled several other films.
And I like the way they've changed it and made it different so that they're like, they don't want to like sort of change the timeline or whatever they're saying. I think that's better. I think that it's better the way they've done that. I like the way there's now sort of 2 teams. I like the way they've ended it so we can now look forward to such a good sequel. I can't wait for it. I think it's good. Every single voice actor, character has all done their job to the T. It's definitely the best film of 2023. It was better than the previous film. Only by a smidge though, because actually sod that, by a bit more than a country mile, but you know, by a mile, but you know. Yeah, I think it did really well. It was hard to top it, but it did it.
I would slightly disagree.
But yeah, so
I would slightly disagree. Just essentially, I thought the first one. I thought the first one was much better. This one felt like it was a lot of like leading to someone but didn't get anywhere. But that's just my opinion. I prefer the first one's really good though. Okay, and my number one is Tar, but with Cate Blanchett, which I think is a really great film against cancel culture. Cate Blanchett, really good, probably robbed of the Oscar, but not the BAFTA, thank goodness. Which like, I think the BAFTA is usually a better barometer of this than general.
If I was an actor, I'd never go to the Oscars.
And I just think it's very well written, very well acted, and it's just such a great film. And against cancel culture, I thought it was very interesting. Again, great, it's just a great character drama, very interesting, very well acted, very well written as well. And I just think it's a film that everyone needs to, and it's not necessarily even like a, you know, right-wing film against cancel culture. It's just a very great film, and I'm glad it's done so well and swept up so many awards. And the only other thing I have to say about it is, for me, it's like probably the best film out of the best of the year I've seen so far, so that's very high praise. And I just hope everyone sees it at some point because it's a very, very good film. And I will just wrap it up there, but the last thing I would say is that we promise it won't be, you know, this list won't be this late next year.
That depends on you.
Well, yeah, I know. And we've already started working on our worst stuff, haven't we? Wink. Madam Web.
Well, I didn't put it on my worst.
Oh,
You
well,
did.
Sod this then. We'll do it live anyway. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next year.
See ya. Bye.